Kendra. How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
I'm so glad you were able to come in today.
Thank you.
You look nice. You look different.
Thank you. I did my hair.
Good, good. I like that. It looks really nice on you.
Thank you.
Now, in fact, do you mind if I recap from our last session?
That's fine.
Awesome. Well, last time you came in, we talked about how you were drinking about 2 to 3, and it had become, it came from a couple of nights a week to every night of the week. And your husband was a little bit getting concerned about the issue, and so that's why, he thinks that you should come and find out if there's a way that you can work some things out. Am I correct?
Yeah.
All right. So from then to now, has there anything that has changed?
Yeah, there's been a little bit of differences.
Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Well, I'm drinking a little bit more now since then.
Why is that?
I get really stressed out from work and things like that. So, drinking relaxes me. So the more I drink, the better I feel.
Huh. What are some of the issues that are at work that's causing you to drink a little bit more?
I'm fighting more with my husband and my daughter. So that's causing a little bit more stress, and I don't really know how to deal with it. So that's why I go back to the drinking because that's what seems to work for me.
And how does drinking help the situation?
I mean, at the time, it makes me feel more relaxed and like kind of lets me like take a pause and take a break from the issue until I can like calm down and feel better about it. But then sometimes it kind of makes the situation worse later on. Doesn't really always deal with the problem.
Okay, you say your drinking has increased. How much more has it increased?
Mm, well, I'm still drinking every day, probably more often a day, maybe like 4, 5, 6 glasses a day instead of before.
Okay, now how much in the glass are we talking
To
about?
the top.
Okay. Um, do you have? Because I remember last time when we talked, you said your husband was concerned. That's why you came here. Now, have you actually sat down and talked to your husband and see how you can work things out with it?
I mean, we've tried to sit down, but it just feels like he's kind of just like being really critical and just saying that I'm doing everything wrong. So it doesn't really feel like it's an open conversation. I kind of just feel like he's attacking me. So that adds to the stress too. So I feel like that's causing more issues. And he also told me that he was wanting to have another child and he didn't want me to be drinking while I was pregnant because that can affect the child's development and he didn't want to see that happen. And he also said that if I didn't start cutting back that we might be getting divorced. So
Oh wow. Oh, that's some drastic measure. Now, what is the best thing you could possibly imagine that could come from you just changing your habits, or even drinking less, or whatever the issue, what the case is?
I mean, it would probably make my husband and my daughter happier. I don't know if it would necessarily make me happier though. I like when I'm drinking. I don't really want to give it up. A lot of people don't want to give up what they like to do, right?
Now, I agree with that, but let me just help you see something real quick. Would you say you love your husband?
I do,
Would you say you love your daughter?
of course.
Now, what is the priority for you right now?
I mean, I'm still being able to provide for them. They're not going hungry and they have a house over their head and they have food on the dinner table every night. I don't really see why it's such a big deal. They're taken care of. They're not missing out on anything.
Is there any way that you can think of that your drinking may have either impacted or affected your everyday living?
I mean, I still have my job. I mean, they're giving me less hours, but I don't know if that's directly related to that. I mean, maybe it could be, but
Has your job performance changed in any way?
I don't feel that it has. I feel like I'm still being able to perform at my best when I'm there.
Any recent incident happened?
No?
Well, it sounds like you recently became your husband kind of concerned about the drinking. Now, is there, in a way, what I'm trying to say, like, is there anything about your drinking that you feel like that may have been, in a way, is it a concern to you when it comes to drinking? Like,
I mean, I don't really see what the big deal is. I know tons of people that drink all the time and they don't have. I mean, like their husbands or wives do it with them, so I don't see why it's such a big issue.
I understand that, and I understand that with what you have to remember is that in every case it's different, and the fact that you said that you do love your husband, you can you see how your drinking, how it's affecting your relationship in a negative term?
Yeah, I definitely do see how it's affecting it, but I just wish everyone wasn't so critical and like blowing it out of proportion. I mean, it's legal. It's not like I'm breaking the law.
Do you believe your husband love you?
Of course.
Can you see where his concern comes from?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, sometimes I could probably get a little out of hand.
See, I was just about to ask you, how does your drinking, how does that impact your relationship between you and your husband?
I mean, he doesn't like when I'm drinking. He gets mad a lot, and we fight when I'm drinking. And the more I drink, the more we fight. But when I'm not drinking, things are really, really good. But I'm not always super happy when I'm not drinking. So,
What about your relationship with your daughter?
I mean, it could definitely be closer. And maybe I feel like sometimes she's embarrassed of me.
How so?
She doesn't like bringing her friends to the house because she doesn't want her friends to see her mom the way that I am, she says.
How is that exactly? Can you elaborate a little bit more?
She says that I'm embarrassing because I say things to her friends that make them uncomfortable, or I do. She calls them weird things. She just says that I drink too much and it's embarrassing. She doesn't like her friends seeing me like that because her parents or their parents don't drink or don't act the way that I do. But I'm the fun mom. I thought that that's made things more interesting. But I guess that's not really what a 14-year-old wants their mom to be like. I guess.
How does
So.
that make you feel knowing your daughter feels that way?
I mean, it really bothers me. It upsets me. I wish she would be able to feel more comfortable around me and especially be able to bring her friends over, and have sleepovers and stuff. But she doesn't even like to ask. If it gets brought up, she immediately says no. So,
Have you ever gotten drunk?
oh, of course.
Now, how do you think they feel to see you in that state?
I mean, of course, they don't like it. They've commented on that multiple times. But maybe they should just be a little bit, less critical. Maybe they should have, like, well, obviously my daughter shouldn't drink, but maybe my husband should sit down and have a beer or two. Maybe he would understand why I like it so much. But
Did your husband ever sit down and drink with you prior to anything, maybe when you were drinking a little bit less?
I mean, he goes and drinks with his friends sometimes, but he only has like a beer or two. He doesn't really usually drink around the house. It's usually when he goes out with his friends or whatever.
Okay, so do you go out with your friends as well, or you just drink at the house?
No, I go out with friends sometimes. Sometimes we'll have ladies' night out, and we'll drink a couple of bottles of wine. We'll split them between us, but not very often. It's usually more around the house.
Now, what would your life be in 3 years from now if you change your drinking? What do you think your life would be like in 3 years from now? Think about your relationship with your husband and your relationship with your daughter. How do you think that would be different if you were to change your drinking?
I mean, I'm sure my daughter would probably enjoy being around me a lot more, and maybe she'd even ask if her friends could come over. Maybe she would want them to be around me and be seen by me. Maybe we could go out and do things together, like her and I out in public, like go to the movies or something like that. And as for my husband, he'd probably be a lot happier. I mean, if it was up to him, we would have another kid by then. But
Would that be something you'd like to do more with your daughter?
definitely, I would definitely like to be able to spend more time with her.
And even with your husband wanting another child, would that be something that you would see yourself wanting to do with him right now?
I mean, I don't know what the big rush is. We already have one daughter, so I don't know why we need to like jump into things really quickly and have another one. We're still pretty young. We still have plenty of time to do that. Right now, I kind of just want to have fun.
Did you express that to him?
I mean, I try, but he doesn't really see it the way I see it, I guess.
What is fun to you?
I just feel like I don't know, I just feel like I can be like more myself when I'm drinking and like I don't have to be so guarded and I can let loose and I don't know, I just like I'm a much better dancer when I'm drinking, so that's always fun.
What was the wildest, I would say, the wildest thing that you can remember that you did when you were drinking?
When I was drinking, oh, probably shouldn't talk about that here.
Wow. It was that, was it that good or that bad?
I mean, it was good at the time, had some repercussions, so
Okay.
probably not the best experience in the world.
I can totally understand because trust me, you all do some things, afterwards you have to look back and be like, what just happened? Now, in regards to your husband, would your drinking be something that you would consider looking into or even trying to lessen because you want to your relationship to be a little bit better?
I mean, maybe I could cut down on it, but I definitely don't want to stop drinking. I still want to be able to drink sometimes.
Now, I don't know if you know much about this, but um, according to research, it has shown that based on the amount of beer that you do drink, it shows where you're either at a high risk or a lower risk. And as of right now, based on everything you just said, it does show that you're not at a high risk to the highest, but you are a little bit above the average when it comes to drinking. And it's something that will actually eventually end up being a hindrance to your health. And I know that you have your daughter, and I know you just said that you want to have another children in the future. So it's something that I just wanted to present to you, just for you to keep in mind, so that you would, think about it and see, really just decide what would be the best thing for you right now. Because you say you love your daughter, you say you love your husband, and in order for you to show that love, sometimes there are some things that we want to do, but we may not always do it to the extent we want to, because it's not just us in the picture. Based on this information that I've had, would that be something that would kind of want to look more into changing a little bit, at least decreasing the amount of your alcohol consumption?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't want my husband to leave me, so like that's something that's important to me. I definitely want us to still be together, not only for our relationship's sake, but also so that we can be together for our daughter. Um, but I still do really like my drinking. And they say that, like a glass of wine a day is supposed to be healthy. So if I'm having extra, why can't I just be super healthy?
If only it was like that, that would have worked. But just also, even if sometimes when you drink one a day, it helps you. Too much of anything also can be also an issue. You see where I'm going with this? So sometimes it might just help out to kind of like just look, because at the end of the day, you have your family to think about.
Hmm.
And I know that as much as, let's just say you were to get pregnant right now, that be something that motivates you to stop drinking.
Yeah, I don't want anything to happen to the baby, but I don't really feel like right now is the time for a baby either.
What can you do right now to recuperate things between you and your husband, in your opinion?
Definitely cut down. I mean, maybe eventually in the future stop drinking when I'm a little older. But for right now, maybe just cut back a little bit.
And how, in your own words, how do you think that would help the situation by cutting down?
I mean, I think that there would be a lot less stress for them because I can see that it affects them a lot in many different ways. The way that I am and how much I drink, it affects my husband and I's relationship. He doesn't like to always be around me when I'm like that, and my daughter doesn't like to be around me because it's embarrassing for her. And she wants to have a better relationship with her mom, but says that she doesn't think it can happen if I stay the way that I am. So I think that if I stopped drinking as much, maybe we would be able to get more of a relationship.
Oh, well, that's a good motivation to want to stop. I applaud you for that, because even then, some people just think, it's not that big of a deal. But another thing that I wanted to point out is that, of course, as long as you care about your marriage, you do not want to have that, messed up over something that I believe in you. I believe that you really can do this. What are some changes that you would want to think about? Like when you say cutting, what's the what are you thinking when it comes to changing like the amount of drinks that you drink?
Maybe cut back like 2 or 3 a night instead of having like 5 or 6. Maybe only have like 1 or 2 glasses of wine.
That's really good. And even having all this information, one thing that I would love to recommend as well, which really helps, is to let you know that there are people out there who are on the same boat that you are, that runs to alcohol when they seem stressed. But we do have a program where we can actually sit there, and some things, we just feel like we really can't talk to our husband about or talk to our daughters about. You have a group of people. It's a 12 stage program where it would really help you to just come and talk to people and really just people who are going through the same things, so you can see the different things that people do encounter, do different things that stress people, that draws them to drinking, as well. So I would highly recommend that you try the outpatient program, and it's really it's phenomenal, because you get to see people from different perspectives. You get to see how really by just sitting there and talking about it, how it really help. Would that be something you're interested in trying out?
I think I might be able to do that.
Good, that's good. Well, what I'll have to do though, because it requires paperwork. What I'll do, I'll definitely have my secretary look into that for you, and in a few minutes, I'll just I'll have to take care of that for you, so that we can set you up with the program. What days would be best for you?
Well, I work during the weekdays, so maybe the weekends would be better.
Feasible, perfect, perfect. I do know a couple of groups right now that are meeting. Would morning or afternoon be better for you?
I don't really like waking up super early in the morning, so afternoon.
Trust me, I understand. But why do we? Because I do know there's a couple of groups meeting in the afternoon. I would love for you to try them out, and I can guarantee you're really gonna enjoy it. Okay.
Okay.
So if you'll just wait for me right here, I'll have my secretary take care of everything for you, and we'll be done.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.